Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Eric Thompson here. Hope that you are doing well. E.T.'s film review channel. Okay, this evening, or maybe you're watching us during the morning.
It's 1:41 a.m. here
in the bluegrass, Kentucky, which is no big deal for me, but my wife here, Tori Thompson, she's very tired.
I'm very tired.
We're on that strange border between lunacy and genius. And so we're going to start with some lunacy with a little song, and then we're going to get into our top 10. So here's something for all y'all in the Christmas spirit. 1, 2, 3. Yeah! Oh, come let us adore him. It's Jesus' birthday, kind of. He was probably born in July. But we have the solstice here. So, oh my gosh.
Sorry, because that probably sounded weird. This brand new to me, French horn. I have not played in a year, and I've been playing a little bit the past couple of days, so I'm getting there. But it probably sounded weird anyway, because of the microphone, and that's not my fault. But the guitar, I'm sure, sounded nice anyway.
Well, yeah, as you know, you think yourself.
As you know.
We just record, the microphone is on the webcam, and so it probably sounded distorted the French horn did, but try something new, okay? So, donate to the channel, and then we'll buy a new mic. Okay.
And I'll practice more. Donate, and I will take lessons, and that'll sound even better.
Would you tell them about this French horn, where it came from?
This French horn, yes, here. The guy who was band director, right, in Kentucky, and he had this horn up for sale, and Eric had a guitar he didn't want anymore, and so switcheroo, some cash, some tuning stuff, and I have this, which is in excellent working condition. Would you say from the 70s? I mean, I'm not a professional. I'm just doing this for fun, and so it is excellent for that. I'm very happy with it, especially since I had no horn before. This baby's all in. So we're going to be jamming together all the time.
I won't go that far.
Maybe.
We will.
Yes.
But tonight, give it some consideration to, yes, I know you already know what we're going to say because you saw the title of the film, Top 10 Christmas Films, okay? So we're wearing Christmas red, more or less. We have Christmas behind us. And we have my little friend, the snowman, who's here to keep us company. This was my stocking, my first and only stocking when I was a boy, so he's here to keep us company as well. This is a little different for Tori and I because we're not giving two different lists as we've done before with film dads and moms and animated films. This is one list, 10 films, okay? And so Vegas will help us out a little bit with the images and titles and so forth, and so let's get right into it. So again, Tori and I kind of agreed on these. Some which I had not seen, some which she had not seen, but I think that makes a pretty good film repertoire. So let's begin right away. Number 10,
Die Hard.
Bruce Willis, Nakatomi Plaza, Los Angeles. That's right. Die Hard, the first of I guess now it's 4 films, although I think a 5th is coming eventually. You know, you get out on the internets, and this film is in a lot of top 10 Christmas film lists. As you know, of course, John McClane is in L.A. To visit his wife, or his ex-wife, I guess, whatever she is, and it's Christmas time, and so the whole idea is Christmas travel and all these things, and a lot of the jokes that are made are around Christmas. All right, the struggle with a Christmas film is that you have a movie that deals heavily with a Christmas theme, or like Sleepless in Seattle, which is one of my very, very favorites because my main man,
Tom Hanks.
Thank you. Of course, as you know, when Jonah initially calls into Dr. Marcia Fieldstone, this is during Christmas time, right? And so the real heart of the movie is during Christmas, even though it ends during Valentine's Day. But we don't feel that this is exactly a Christmas movie because, it's just kind of a hit and miss. Whereas Die Hard, like other films we're going to see, actually happens all in one day, I think, pretty much, in one evening. In the Christmas season. And so some people consider it a Christmas movie. This film is very coarse. I think the franchise is one that's beloved by many, but it just mostly runs on Spike TV these days. It was a big hit for Bruce Willis at the time, and in some respects launched him into the action hero career that he still enjoys, of course, with Die Hard, Die With a Vengeance releasing 2 or 3 years ago, I guess. And so having catapulted him along, and the Die Hard series, I think, has done very well for him and for blockbuster pictures in general. But certainly it gave producers a reason to release an action film during the holiday season, which we just don't see a lot of. Case in point, this year, aside from The Hobbit, but this year, what is dominating Christmas Day, Tori?
Les Mis, right?
I dream a dream of time to go by. Sorry, but forget it. I'll play forget it. Okay. What'd you tell us about number 9?
No, I would not, because that's your job. Home Alone.
You've never seen the film?
I saw it once a long time ago. All I know is Macaulay Culkin is in it, and then there's people trying to break into his house because he's alone, and everyone likes it.
You don't like this?
I didn't say I didn't like it. I just said I only saw it once, and it was a long time ago. And it's your job to talk about it.
All right. Home Alone 2 favorites, right? I remember who just posted it on Facebook. Was it Scott or was it Eric who posted that there's no way that he could have made that sleigh riding the what was it? Do you remember this?
No.
Oh, well. Anyway, he slides down the sled. Excuse me. He slides down the stairs on his sled, and there's no way he could have made the jump out the front door. As a young man, a boy, I remember watching this movie and just laughing at all the fun stuff that Kevin, Macaulay Culkin's character, did to thwart the bad guys. Okay. Again, it's a Christmas classic in some respects because it happens, I think just Christmas Eve and Christmas Day or right around that period sometime. But in a curious way, most good Christmas films are about being with your family. And so what happens if you got left behind? What happens if you got left behind in New York City? Or you stayed at home or whatever it is. In this case, New York City. And there are also some themes dealt with in Home Alone of childhood, adulthood, belief, certainty, doubt. Very playfully done, but it's there still. Like, it's not just Kevin running around and thwarting the bad guys, but there's really a sense of him dealing with his own feelings and all this as he's left alone in the house and having to defend his own life. So very interesting, fun, just light, fun, enjoyable. It's another one of those that's going to run on, oh gosh, I don't know, one of those channels.
I'm good. I'm ready.
What would it be? Fox Family or whatever it is. If you catch it this holiday season, enjoy it along with Die Hard. Now, number 8.
Okay, we took sort of a unconventional route with our number 8. We chose The Lion, the Witch, and the Wardrobe. And it's not exactly a Christmas movie, but the winter setting, and there's a Christmas aspect to it, right? And Eric's going to talk more about that. aren't you?
Indeed, as you're aware, well, if you've not seen the film or read the book, I'm not going to give you a synopsis, because how could you say it briefly? Synthesis, maybe.
But you should go read the book. It's not that long. Get on that right now. Come back later when you read it.
Just watch the movie first, and then don't you dare. Don't move over. Don't click. Just click over to Netflix right now. Click, click, click. Anyway, suffice to say, 4 children go to stay with a crazy relative during the Second World War, and they find a passageway to a secret world in an old wardrobe, or a closet for we who live in the United States, okay? And when they enter this magical world called Narnia, they discover that it's wintertime. And normally, if you appeared in a magical land and it was wintertime, what's the first thing you would think of if it was wintertime? It must be
Christmas.
Unfortunately, no.
No Christmas.
Because the Ice Queen, how dare she, whatever her name is, what was the actress's name?
I don't know.
She was tremendous, but the Ice Witch, whatever, she has cast a spell on Narnia so that they are in perpetual winter, but never Christmas. And Father Christmas has been locked away in all these things, okay? And so finally, Aslan, he arrives, and who is an obvious representation of Jesus, and that he's meant to be, okay? It's not like they're trying to be subtle. He's supposed to
Obviously.
He's supposed to be Jesus, all right? Just deal with it. And so he arrives, and then finally the spell is broken, and it's Christmas, and so on and so forth. And a lot of other things happen as well. Something that impressed me about this film is that it's sort of an anti-Christmas film, not against Christmas, but that it deals with precisely the crisis of faith that we experience in the world today. For example, the wonder of the season, right? Lights and candy canes and carols and hot cider and Black Friday and all of these things are wonderful and exciting and temporary pleasures, right? Luxury pleasures. But they do not point to what Christmas stands for at all, right? As who said it? You can look in the tree, or you can look under the tree for the meaning of the season, but the only place to find it is in the manger, right? Jesus. And so even when Lucy, the first child to enter Narnia, she gets there and there's all this wonder and excitement, but then suddenly she realizes this place is not what it seems, because there's no Christmas. It's winter, it's snowing, it's beautiful, it's magical, but there's no Christmas. And so in our time, in the anxiety of this time, we see all the lights and hear all the stories and sing all the songs and do all the shopping and eat all this ham or whatever it is. And we feel great, but there's something that says, this isn't quite right. This isn't quite right. This isn't really Christmas. Because Jesus is the very heart and spirit of Christmas, just as in Narnia, Aslan is the spirit of that land, of that kingdom. So I think that's why, in some part, this plays over for us. This is a Christmas film, okay? Because it informs our time about what Christmas means or how we should approach the true spirit of Christmas. And I think it's great. Faithfully done, pretty faithfully as a film anyway. A pretty good adaptation. Certainly things went dreadfully awry with Prince Caspian, and then with Voyage of the Dawn Treader with the smoke monster. I mean, they literally borrowed the smoke monster from Lost, and they put it in the Narnia film. Except it's green, it's not black. Go.
Alright, number 7. We, neither of us feels terribly strongly about this movie as in a personal connection, but we felt the need to include it on the list because it has become a sort of cult classic since 1983. And yes, it is a Christmas story. And so, although there's not exactly a heartwarming message, moral to this movie, it's fun, right? Ralphie is on a quest to get to his Red Ryder BB gun, and there are the famous scenes, wash your mouth out with soap, and the dad's leg lamp, and
Fragile. Must be from France.
Sticking your tongue on the flagpole. And honestly, it's, like I said, it's just fun. It's kind of a celebration celebration of these everyday moments of how you interact with your family, especially around the holidays, and childhood expectations for Christmas. And I was, in preparing for this, I saw someone called this the Seinfeld of Christmas movies, and I can kind of see where they're coming from. Like I said, it's just these everyday kind of funny aspects of Ralphie's life and his family and his friends. And so, although it is not one of my favorites, I could say I think it's one of my sister's favorites, Emma. But it's going to be running 24 hours, right? 24-hour marathon Christmas Day, probably on some channel if you have television.
Yes.
And I would say it's worth watching just because it's a classic, even if classic in terms of a cult classic, I would say. We will get to more truly classic Christmas films higher up in the list.
Yeah, I think, if there is a cult classic amongst Christmas films, this is it. Probably the greatest of them all. Like, if you guys know a bit about my favorites, like I would say, like Neverending Story or The Labyrinth would be kind of like one of my cult classic favorites. No one would really say like it would be at the top of their list, more or less. But they would say, yeah, like that movie has real appeal in this and this and this sense. But certainly with A Christmas Story, especially because of all the sayings and
shoot your eye out.
I mean, just over and over again, that have been perpetrated by this single film. There's an obligation that comes with it because it's such a strong presence in the Christmas canon. Number 6.
Number 6, Elf. We had to do it, but this film, like A Christmas Story, it's not exactly of the highest quality necessarily, and the moral message. Well, I think stronger in Elf than A Christmas Story is not especially strong, but it's fun, sweet, it's innocent. Will Ferrell's character has this childlike innocence as he's a fish out of water, a human that was raised by elves that goes to New York City, and so it's silly. I like Will Ferrell. We get to see Zooey Deschanel before she became a hipster and dyed her hair brown, or maybe she dyed her hair blonde. I don't really know.
We like her before the hipster, bottom line, before the Coke bottle, thick rimmed glasses, and the ukulele. And who was the other guy that she was singing the songs with for a little while? Who was in the Batman movies?
What?
Joseph Gordon-Levitt.
She and him? Is that?
Didn't they make?
They were in 500 Days of Summer, but I don't know if
I thought they had some stuff on YouTube, whatever. It is a good one. I think that Will Ferrell had said that he thought it was not one of his better works. But he says that about a lot of his movies. He's very critical of himself. But he had said it was just kind of fun. Like, it was just something to do to kind of pass the time. But he did not know how monumental it would be for his career. To look back and, he's making it. And he's making that movie alongside, like, Old School and some of his more coarse, comedies.
Right.
And here he's supposed to be comedy-less, right? He's supposed to play a character that doesn't think anything is funny, but that thinks that everything in his reality is totally serious. Like, of course you would eat, maple syrup on your spaghetti, because that's what he's been taught his whole life, and so it's just curious how he reacts and how he experiences human love, or at least romantic love with Zooey Bechamel sauce, whatever her name is. And so it's very exciting, but it is a riot, a total riot. As is number 5, Love Actually. Now, here we get into, again, some, not gray area morally, I mean some negative moral, whatever it's called, content, okay? But still, there's something about this movie that seems so dreadfully endearing. I know, personally, I can relate to this. I spent 2 years celebrating Christmas by myself. Literally alone. I had slippers 1 year. Fair enough. I lived with my family. I was working at a church. And so I went to Mass in the morning. I went to play for the service. And then came home. And that was it. And that was my day. And I was like, okay. And maybe I would go over somewhere in the evening, But the whole day was spent alone. Just me. And that's addressed in this film. the happiest day. It's the most wonderful time of the year, unless you're stuck somewhere alone. You know what I'm saying? And so I appreciated that Love Actually said, love actually kind of turns out to be a bunch of different things, especially in the most romantic time of all, okay? Even though I have always said, you know what I'm going to say.
No, I don't.
Which is the most romantic time of year to fall in love.
The fall.
The fall. But if you're going to be in love, you're going to fall in love in the fall, and you're going to be in love in the winter and the Christmas
Perfect
time,
timing.
you're doing pretty good for yourself, okay? Is that our story?
Not quite, no.
No.
We were part in the fall.
Yes. The diaspora. What do you think about Love Actually, my dear?
One time we watched it and I fell asleep.
Yes. Anything else? You have seen it all the way through.
I have, but it has been a while. They pulled this off better than some of these more recent.
Definitely,
Christmas.
maybe New Year's Eve.
Yeah, those. That's what it was. Not Christmas, but other holidays.
The one? Yeah.
They did stop while you're ahead. People making movies.
Well, and this, it was not the first by any means, but I mean the mega cast productions. I mean, we're talking even back to World War II films, The Bridge Too Far and The Longest Day, which had 50 internationally known actors in it. But then, of course, Love Actually sort of brought that around. Poseidon Adventure, I'm thinking about that too. But Love Actually brought a lot of big name actors into the scene, the scenes, onto the scene. And then later on, New Year's Eve, of course, did the same thing. Valentine's Day, right? Again. But Love Actually was the first of this series, and so it doesn't feel quite so forced. Oh, there they are. There they are. The two biggest names in the whole wide world. There they are, doing their thing. So, anyway, something to enjoy. I know for Mary Lou, we borrowed the movie from you. We're going to watch it tonight. Should fall asleep again, I guarantee it. Well, we're going to enjoy it. For some people, like your family, it's a tradition to watch it as soon as you can, once you get close enough to Christmas through Advent. So we recognize that this movie is sort of turning into a bit of a classic itself. Even though really it's, I think, 9 years old, or just 8 or 9 years old. Anyway, number 1, 2, 3, 4.
Number 4, A Charlie Brown Christmas. Like Love Actually, as Eric said, there's some acknowledgement of the darker side of Christmas, or the Christmas season, the holiday season in general. Charlie says to Linus something along the lines of, I don't feel the way that I'm supposed to feel about Christmas. And so this movie acknowledges that around Christmas time you might not feel like celebrating, you might not feel joyful. There's family members that you've lost, your music is distracting me. Well, there you go, that's okay. Segue, Vince Guaraldi composed the awesome music, which really makes this special, the Christmas special. The jazz music, Linus and Lucy, and Christmas Time Is Here, all of that. And now I'm going to have to segue back to what I was saying before, which was this acknowledges you might be depressed around Christmas time, and that's okay. And Charlie Brown still ends up learning about the true meaning of Christmas when Linus tells the story, and that's a really poignant moment, perhaps the most well-known moment of the Christmas special. And
the recitation of the nativity.
Yes, thank you.
Or the birth narrative, yes. Oh, Jesus Christ.
Some trivia, just in case you're interested. The producers, and Charles Schultz and someone Mendelsohn and someone else that I forget, had child actors play all the parts rather than adults, which was normal. Normally you'd have a child at the time, an adult playing a child, but they had all child actors, and only 2 of them, Charlie Brown and Linus, were professional actors, and the rest were just random kids that they pulled in. And so if you notice next time you watch it, which you should very soon, the sort of sing-songy, there's a lot of pausing, they talk and then they stop and they talk and then they stop, is because they had to feed the kids these lines. So here's a sentence for you to say at once, and then here's another sentence for you to say at once. That is not really relevant to the quality of this film, but in case you're interested. And number 3, oh, that's me again. White Christmas is on this side of the page too. 1954, we've got Bing Crosby, we have Danny Kaye, we have Rosemary Clooney, and Vera Ellen. I had to look down for that one. Originally, they wanted Fred Astaire to be with Bing Crosby because of Holiday Inn, but he would not do it. They ended up with Danny Kaye, and I really, really like Danny Kaye, which that was why I watched this movie, because I saw The Court Jester with my family beforehand. This is also irrelevant, but I guess your ways of talking at length about things that are not entirely relevant are rubbing off on me. Anyway, so the story, of course, Danny Kaye's character and Bing Crosby's character are war buddies, and they're performing, singing, and dancing a little bit, and they meet up with the sister act, and romantic things ensue, right? And basically the plot of this movie is okay, but the music is really what makes it. Obviously, it's a movie musical. We've got White Christmas, of course, the title. Are you gonna play it, or are you just putting something random?
What Christmas?
White Christmas.
This must mean it's gonna be an F major like all Christmas songs. Nope. It's gonna be in B flat. I'm dreaming of a white Christmas, just like the one that I used to know.
Right. So White Christmas. Sisters. I just like that song because I have a sister and it's fun. Count when I fall asleep, counting my blessings, whatever that song is called. So really, I love this movie because of the music. I think most people would say that it doesn't get better. Bing Crosby, Rosemary Clooney, Danny Kaye is mostly I just like him because he's funny, and sure, Vera Ellen. I don't really know that much about her. Sorry, Vera Ellen, but I do know your name.
Good job.
Okay, moving on. Number 2.
Number 2. One of my favorites. Saw it first back in, must have been '05. The Polar Express. Here we have, once again, a collaboration between my main man,
Tom Hanks.
who played how many characters in this movie?
Ooh, 3?
6.
6.
And his main man, say it.
I don't know.
Starts with the Z and it rhymes with Zemeckis.
It's not helpful.
Zemeckis. Robert Zemeckis.
I don't know who that is.
Robert Zemeckis, who of course directed Forrest Gump, and went on to later direct the digital realization of The Christmas Carol starring Jim Carrey, John Henry,
Who was that?
Tom Hanks,
Someone?
Jim Carrey. But so this was right before, I believe, Bob Zemeckis directed Beowulf, which was all in digital animation. And so they were coming into a new era of motion capture animation where, like in a Disney film where everything was animated by hand, and maybe they would record the actors doing the voice acting, and then they would animate according to what the actor did. You had the actor acting out the entire thing in person, and then the camera recording their facial movements. And so here in this film, when Tom Hanks was playing a boy that was 7 years old, and a middle-aged man, and a homeless guy who may have been a ghost maybe, and Santa Claus, and so on and so forth, you know, you had him playing all these different parts. Go, thank you. And go and see all the little dots they put on his face and all this stuff. For real, exciting. I even thought maybe it was a bit too exciting. I mean, some of those scenes were scary
The
a
roller
little bit.
coaster experience of the train off the tracks in a movie theater, it's too late for you to see it that way now. But if you saw it that way, it was startling.
Or when they were in the track with all the unwanted toys, and there was the Ebenezer Scrooge type character. It was very scary. But here again, a very strong message of hope and belief, and Josh Groban, and who sang that children. One of my favorites. We watched it the other night. We enjoyed it. I enjoyed it anyway to see it again. And the music was good. Again, kind of a movie musical. Not a lot of music, but a bit of music that was composed for the film by Alan Silvestri. And then we just watched a movie the other day. Well, from Elf. And Elf, Alan Silvestri, I don't think he composed music for that, but there was that same... We're like, wait a minute. It's just, I don't know, it kind of feels like Christmassy, right? Just those two intervals, probably because of Polar Express. So one of my favorites, and I'm glad that it made it to number 2. Tom Hanks. But there can only be one.
Number 1.
Go ahead.
It is It's a Wonderful Life. Of course.
Franklin, my dear. That one?
Frank Capra directed it. But
Oh.
it has nothing to do with Gone with the Wind.
Oh.
As far as I know. This is really the ultimate holiday classic. And unfortunately, my husband here has never seen it. But thanks to Aunt Liz, we have our own copy right over here, and we will watch it.
Next year.
No, we will watch it.
You only have 24 hours left.
It's okay. We're on Christmas. It doesn't have to be before Christmas. We can watch it on Christmas.
Oh, Clarence!
You'll like it. You'll like it.
Yay, there's the... Okay, we'll see.
All right.
Follow-up video to come, I'm sure.
So you probably don't need me to tell you the plot of It's a Wonderful Life, but
I
you
do.
might if you're Eric. So our main character, George Bailey, played by Jimmy Stewart, is just the ultimate good guy. And when the movie starts, we see him having this personal crisis. He's dead. He might... Well, Atticus is pretty good too. He might go to jail. He's pretty much broke. He's been fighting with his wife and his kids and yelling at them because of the stress and such.
But he was a good guy, but he's only in his wife and kids? Ben-Hur was the ultimate good guy.
I am taking personal offense at you insulting George Bailey / Jimmy Stewart.
Oh, Clarence!
Anyway, he is having this personal crisis, and the angel Clarence, who needs to earn his wings, comes to him to show him what life would be like if he had never been born. And so we see from his childhood, as he grows up, the things that he's done, the way that he's sacrificed for his family, and the way that he treats people, that he takes responsibility even when it means that it's not going to benefit him. You know, other people, like his brother goes off to war and gets to be a hero, and he's just running the family bank, doing the best that he can, and helping the little people. We see him pitted against Mr. Potter, who's kind of a Scrooge character. They're running the slums and the slumlord and such. And so, what I like about this movie, and I think everyone likes about it, we sort of like Charlie Brown Christmas. We see kind of a darker side of not just Christmas, but of life when it hits you down. Our main character is considering committing suicide, but he sees how he has impacted other people and how they kind of dramatize what life would be like without him. For instance, his wife Mary is just alone at a weird library in a bet she would have found someone else to marry. It's not like George Bailey was the only suitable person. Anyway, that's pretty much it. We see, in the end, we see how this community comes together to support him and how he realizes the value in his life, even at this low point when he could go to jail and he's broken and everything, that there's still just value in living and in his family and stuff. And also, not only is George Bailey just a good guy, but Jimmy Stewart was apparently a good guy too. I would say he's sort of like a Tom Hanks of his day in that he's the quintessential nice gentleman actor. As far as I know, that's what I've heard anyway. But obviously, that was a while ago, so I can't speak from personal experience.
You might enjoy watching the videos of him at the Oscars in the 80s. He's so soft-spoken. He was very humble, you know. Unlike so many of the other guys in his generation, including Danny Kaye, Fred Astaire, you know, who were
showy,
not so humble. But that was their gig, you know. I mean, Tom Hanks, you know, is no, well, I mean, he's kind of a singer, but you know, he does not dance or sing or play the guitar, so far as we know. And so to put him up against someone like Hugh Jackman, you know, or not Liam Neeson, but Ewan McGregor or whatever. So anyway. The redemption theme is strong. It sounds a lot like Carousel, if you recall. The lead character goes to heaven to the Star Maker or whatever it is, and the Star Maker grants him the chance to come back to Earth, you know, to reclaim his relationship with his daughter before he passes on for eternity. And so, even though the movie is theoretically set in the theoretical, it still points to us and asks us, what if, you know, where the plot reaches through the screen a little bit and rattles us up. And that, I think, is what makes for a fair or a fairer Christmas film. Do the characters reach beyond? Okay, do they resonate with us? Do we resonate with them? Do we care at all? And for most of these films, I think so. Die Hard, that's a stretch. Elf, maybe not. But is certainly in The Christmas Story, because it's so accessible as real people. Love Actually, White Christmas, even Polar Express. You know, we want to believe, but Lord help me in my unbelief. You know, all that kind of stuff. And so, at the Christmas season, especially for those who are kind of in a crisis of faith, or they're alone, or they're not alone, but they want to believe and they're not sure, movies like these are helpful. Not only because they're great movies, but because they help us to deal with that inner dialogue, with some of that inner drama that's happening. So I think this is a good top 10. And I'll have Vegas put the list up real quick. Just some quick honorable mentions here. And it certainly could have been on the top 10, but I certainly want to mention A Muppet's Christmas Carol. I remember watching that when I was a boy, and I've seen it every year since. It's just one of my absolute favorites. I don't think I have it here with me. I'll have to find it online somewhere. But my affinity for Jim Henson has only grown stronger and Frank Oz over the years. And so what a wonderful retelling. It was scary, too. I remember being scared of that scene in the graveyard with the ghost of Christmas future. Also, quickly, you know, Miracle on 34th Street, both the old one and the new one with Lindsay Lohan, whatever, before she became...
Was she in that? Do you know what you're talking about? No.
I don't care. Anyway. A Nightmare Before Christmas, which was one of Tori's favorites, you know, that Tim Burton, Danny Elfman combination. Santa Claus, with an E, with Tim Allen, Tim the Toolman Taylor. The first and second one were pretty good, but that third one where he fought Martin Short, the Ice Goblin. Ugh. What about The Grinch?
You know, The Grinch, How the Grinch Stole Christmas, the one with Jim Carrey.
The new one, kind of.
Yeah, it's low budget, it's not very good, but I loved that movie up until, I don't know, even through high school. I watched it over and over every Christmas. So, it's, you know, it's fun. It doesn't really deserve to be in the top 10, but if you got the time for it.
It's an honorable mention at least.
Yes.
I also, my sister and I, we enjoyed the claymation stop motion films when we were younger. So Rudolph and Frosty the Snowman and the one with the ice monster, not Star Wars, Empire Strikes Back. But we enjoyed those a lot just because they were simple retellings of the Christmas legends, you know, and fun music along the way. I mentioned A Christmas Carol, A Muppet Christmas Carol, the one with Bob Zemeckis and Jim Carrey, and the one with George C. Scott, Michael Caine. Well, that was, of course, also the Muppets Christmas Carol. There are about a dozen film adaptations and maybe a half a dozen musicals that are based on the Dickens novel, okay? So there's no short supply of renditions to enjoy when it comes to A Christmas Carol. Any other?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Little Women is not really a Christmas film, but there are several Christmas scenes, and we see the girls growing up, becoming women as these Christmases pass, and it begins at Christmas. And I mean, you've got Susan Sarandon, Winona Ryder, Claire Danes, Kirsten Dunst, and that other actress that I don't know who she is.
Sandra Bullock.
No.
Meryl Streep. Amy Adams. Rachel McAdams. Jennifer Aniston.
Yeah, he could just keep guessing for a long time.
Catherine Zeta-Jones.
But special to me, again, as I mentioned, a little bit in White Christmas, but Little Women is the ultimate depiction of relationships between the sisters and with their mom.
Julia Roberts.
And
I'm trying to help.
And there's a sense of nostalgia. I remember watching it and thinking, man, I wish my family all sang Christmas carols around the piano and that I had a next door neighbor to play in the snow with and everything on Christmas. Also worth mentioning, we have Christian Bale before American Psycho and Batman days when he was just cute and innocent with his floppy hair as Laurie. And the playing reminds me. Also the music, what is it called? Orchard House theme. I have no idea who the composer is, but I really enjoy that music too, and it always makes me think of Christmas, and so that deserves at least an honorable mention. I think that wraps it up. Yes.
I think so. In the comments below, down there, okay, tell us what your favorite Christmas films are. Again, subscribe to the channel if you care to. You don't have to. We appreciate it. Like the video if you wanted. Doesn't matter to us if you do or you don't, but it's just nice to know that you watched, okay? Leave some comments below, okay? What do you think in Christmas films? What's up? Just give us your perspectives.
How distracting was Eric's playing?
And how awesome was it, too, okay? But Mrs. Thompson here is very tired, and so...
also hungry. Sorry I've been eating throughout this. Dropping food on the floor.
The diminished bottom chord, isn't that distracting?
Beautiful.
Liam, they're still hard. Especially on the fret. I need to have my guitar refretted. Can I have that for a Christmas present?
I already got you Christmas presents. It's too late.
It's $175 to have those 5
too
frets fixed. Anyway, what else is there to say? Merry Christmas!
And Happy New Year.
Sure enough. Videos coming up, no idea, okay? We're going on our honeymoon in about a week and a half, and so hopefully we'll post some things along the way to Facebook, at least pictures and stuff, and then maybe we'll do a synopsis, reflection, thinking back to a video once we return from the Great Northwest. And so with that, thanks for watching. Again, leave some comments, let us know what you think. Do you agree? Do you disagree? What are your favorite films? How good or bad was the guitar playing? I don't really care, but I'm just enjoying myself, okay? I can't put it down. I mean, I had another guitar, backup guitar, just in case. You know what I'm saying? Okay.
We were going to play the strangest duet of Baby It's Cold Outside for you, but someone left his music at work.
I left the music where it belongs. Okay. Kiss. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Should I turn it off?
Yes.
Okay, hold on.
We're done now.
We're done. What happens now? Can I put one?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Where's it? There it is. Got it.